It's time for Cutting Edge Consciousness with Freeman Michaels and Barnett Bain. Thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
And we're back here on Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels with Barnett Bain. Wow. Jimmy Twyman.
Fun guy.
Yeah.
Really fun guy.
So human, so real, wise, warm.
Yeah.
I'll hang out in his cabin for a while.
Well, you could bring the car around.
Bring the car around.
He has substance.
So much substance.
He has substance. He has this quality of expressing what matters to him. What matters to him, going to meet his friends now, what matters to him emotionally, what matters to him spiritually. He takes action to back up what matters to him. And that kind of mattering is a different sense of the word than matter as in rocks and wood and dirt and trees and skin and bone. It's a whole different octave of mattering, and it's beautiful. There's so much light in that matter.
And I love the orientation. I had to write a book about it. That might not be precisely what he said, but it's awfully close to that. In other words, I have to express this creatively. I have to write a song about it. I got to share it. It's so different than, if I, and I've been motivated from both. I think I'll write a book so that everyone will like me and think I'm important and hear what I have to say. I mean, it's a delicate balance, and you and I both know this. Go ahead.
There's an artist's spirit, which is a little different from an artisan's spirit.
Right.
An artisan's spirit is often about executing with a certain kind, with a mastery, the same kind of pot over and over again, or basket over and over again. But the artist spirit, it is the desire to explore a frontier of the self, and then to bring back the treasure and share it for the benefit of the community.
Yeah.
So it is. It's not entirely selfless. It's not about being self-abandoning, but it is about this energy of making a livelihood. And there's nothing wrong with being successful, wildly successful, but it's leavened with what can I give of my discovery here. And he, in the way he speaks of writing these books, very, very much consistent with that archetype, that artist's archetype.
I love it. And look, artist and artisan go together. There's nothing, I'm sure, when he first learned to play whatever his first instrument was, maybe it was the piano or guitar or whatever it was, that he learned the chords and the timing and so forth and so on. But they became tools, and the tools don't overshadow. They're just the instruments, And I think often, at least for me, it's very easy to get distracted with the tools and the shtick and the this and the that, versus allowing the tools. I said this to you actually today. It was so interesting. Driving in, we often talk about the show and what we're going to do.
Are you repeating yourself?
I am repeating myself, but
not on air.
No, I'm repeating. Not on air. No, we didn't talk about this on the air.
Good.
This
we
is
don't
the
want
first
to get
time.
calls from anybody.
My wife.
Exactly.
Barnett's
You're repeating yourself.
Barnett's ducking my wife. That's all he's care about. Let's keep Jasmine out of.
I'm very frightened now.
She's
this could be contagious.
She's formidable. No, what I was saying to you earlier is we have worked at our craft long enough that we can rely on it. And I really love that, because we were kind of overthinking it earlier today. And so it is this balance of being able to utilize the tools without over-identifying with the tools. Really, at some point, trusting they're there. And that's what I get from Jimmy, is that he has a real sense.
So much so.
Yeah.
What you're speaking to, there's a fabulous way to illustrate this for folks. Fabulous. There is a wonderful actor's exercise, and this is probably going to be familiar to you, Cliff. Or what was that, Cliff? Who are you? Drake Belson.
That's right.
Probably, for those of you that don't know, I'm actually sitting here with the Drake Belson.
The original. I was the first one.
The very first Drake Belson from The Young and the Restless.
Yeah.
So you, from your Drake Belson days, might remember an actor's exercise. you would become so familiar with the text, with the script. And sometimes they wouldn't even use the script. They'd use a song, Happy Birthday to You, the Star Spangled Banner. You'd say the words they're so second nature. And then the idea would be to lay into those words an expression of an emotion or an agenda or an intention. So you're going to say the words to Happy Birthday with an intention to get a message to somebody or to seduce. So what we're really talking about is at this point, the craft becomes so second nature that it is a current. It's like a stream, gently down the stream. And the words get thrown out like little grains of rice along that stream of intention. And they flow out into the world. You watch a great performer like Meryl Streep. She's not thinking about the words.
No, she's not.
And her whole body is a tool to express.
She's not crafting.
No.
She's got it already.
It's all so second nature that she is moving from beats of emotion to beats of emotion, expressing them full-bodily. That is such a revelatory artist because she shares not only the gifts but also the nature of what it is. She reveals what it is. What are the mechanics of being in that state? What happens when you are in that state? It's fabulous.
Yeah, and we used to say, trust your instrument, and her instrument is a well-tuned instrument, and she's got access to it.
Her instrument is anything that is around her awareness.
She just taps in.
Her instrument.
No question about it. And so, it's really beautiful when I'm a witness to that, both in others but also in myself. These moments of flow, and I go, wow. And that, I think, is one of the things I marvel at with people such as Jimmy or Meryl, who have this... they're so tuned in.
They're so masterful.
It's so masterful.
It's mastery.
It's such a gift. And
we don't come out of the egg like that.
Yeah.
There's that cliche about how do you get to Carnegie Hall,
I don't know the cliche. Tell me.
Do you know the way? How do I get to Carnegie Hall? Somebody stops in the street, rush. How do I get to Carnegie Hall? And the person says, practice, 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 practice.
Yeah.
The practice engenders a particular frequency of energy.
Oh, I love it.
The energy is energy of that is a sustain. It's an energy of will and action that is a sustaining energy. The generating of art doesn't come out of the practice itself. It comes out of the imagining, the feeling, the appreciation, the care, the beauty, the love, the attention. But in order to give structure to that, they both have to come together. We call that practice.
And it's interesting because as a coach, as you know, these conscious expressions of what we want to generate and how we want to, express aspects of ourselves, I work with people to create practices. These are conscious ways to begin to embody something that then becomes reliable. Then you can rely on it. And
you know that it's not going to go away.
That's it.
Otherwise, you'll have somebody that says, well, I'm going to write 15 books too. I'm going to start with my first one. And they may have much intention and much laudable ambition and very fine ideas, but it sort of gets blown away like dust in the wind because it is not backed up with the committed will and action.
That's it.
That is grounded through a ritualized behavior.
That's it.
That ritualized behavior is practice.
Practice.
Is whatever we want to call it.
And I say oftentimes that when things are really getting chaotic, to hearken back to something that we talked about in the first segment, referring to when James was referring to Gene Houston, when things get really chaotic in my own life, I rely on my practices. They are reliable. When everything's coming apart, I can go into that practice, either meditation, yoga, all these various practices I have that really I can rely on. So
that's your personality type. I think that for someone that is more oriented towards the generative energies of imagining and feeling, and I know you well, and I know you are, that what grounds us, that does the reset, is the will in action, the practices. But we also know, we know people, my wife, your wife, who I don't think that they would argue that these are powerful, powerful women who are very comfortable in will and action, and
opinion,
and opinion, and beautifully and powerfully so.
Yeah, of course.
And that when they find balance, when they integrate, when they're more likely to be off their center and to reintegrate by connecting in with the imagining, with the feeling, with the being states, not so much the doing states.